Welcome to The Preferred List, a podcast about the people behind the best wedding days. I'm James, a wedding filmmaker. I spent years in the industry working alongside incredible vendors, and this show is all about the real conversations with the ones who make it happen. Whether you're a vendor or a couple, you'll get honest insight, good stories, and maybe a little inspiration along the way. Let's meet today's wedding vendor. Hey, Leah, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. I'm excited to have you here, at Historic Ashland.
I know. I was just saying how grateful I am that you let us be here to film some episodes of the podcast. And it's really exciting too, because you might not know this, but one of the first weddings that I did that I got paid like what I was charging for was here at Historic Ashland in 2018.
Oh my God. Who?
I think it was like Brittany and something. I'd have to look at my YouTube channel.
So is she blonde?
Yeah.
That's so and her husband was in the military?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
And
that's amazing.
Yeah, the whoever was supposed to do speeches was too drunk to do the speeches.
Brittany and Jordan.
Yep.
Brittany and Jordan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. I'm going to have to tag them in this when it goes live.
Yeah,
they were one of my first. We opened in 2018 as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome.
So
that's
fun.
great. Oh my God. So they have like 1-2 children now.
Really?
Yeah. From what I see on I still keep up with them on Instagram. So
yeah, it was literally like one of my first, like, I think I might have done like one or two before that, but it was like my first like full
that's
real
awesome.
wedding, and it was here. And I just remember the sunset session was just like to die for.
Fire.
It was so good. Yeah.
That's amazing.
But we're here at your venue. It's obviously not 2018, it's 2025.
I know, it's wild.
You've been in business for all those years now, and I'm so excited to jump into more about your story and the experience that you have. But we're here at your venue, and I'd love for you, this is when I would read my little pre-roll ad spot of the venue highlight, but I'd love for you to just give us the highlight of what your space is, what it all has, and what you're excited about.
Yeah, heck yeah, awesome. So the space we're sitting in now is actually the mansion. It's probably one of the most popular aspects of the venue. It is included in our full day package. So Historic Ashland is a private venue. We are located about 20 minutes west of Lancaster. So we sit very cute in between Lancaster and York counties.
Yeah.
We are about an hour north of Baltimore. So we're able to host a lot of couples that this is a neutral meeting ground for both of their families. The venue is really, I would say, known for the fact that it is private. I always joke to people that I own the place and I do not live here. And they always look at me like, is that a thing? And I'm like, that's definitely a thing. So do not live here. So that's one of, I think, the biggest perks of why people choose Ashland is because it's just the business. We run it as such. We do one wedding a day. So people really enjoy the exclusivity that provides.
Yeah. I will say one wedding a day, you might think
I know.
Oh, it's not a normal thing. But like
No.
literally I was just at a wedding this year and like around the corner was another one.
I know.
And I was like, how?
I can't even begin to like wrap my brain around what the logistics of that look like. Because again, one of the things I feel like that we do really well here is it's all about the guest experience as well, right? I feel like any venue, any vendor can make the couple feel great, but I think you've really surpassed expectations when that starts with the guests. So like for us, it's all about, there's a very clear parking lot that is out of the way. We're ADA compliant and accessible. We have paved pathways everywhere.
Yeah.
If your grandmother just had a surgery and is in a wheelchair, it is no problem at all. Like, so I can't even wrap my head around what logistically that would look like if I was like it was so funny because last weekend we had a wedding and this gentleman comes up, he's like, we're here for so-and-so's wedding, is where's that located? And we're like, oh, that's the only wedding. You can head right down the pathway to the white chairs. But yeah, that was something that was really important to me when we opened Ashland because there is actually a third floor to this building. And a lot of people are like, what's on the third floor? And I'm like, it's a liability. So don't go up there. But I think I'm sure you can attest to this. And I know a lot of vendors listening. When you begin any business, it is very difficult to not have your entire life be consumed by this business.
Yeah.
So I think something that has held me steadfast and kept me grounded is like at the end of the day, I leave my office, I close our privacy gates, and I go home.
Yeah.
And I leave work at work. Now you probably, you may not know this, but a lot of people do, my husband works for me now. So it's like when you work with your significant other, you have to have that boundary. And I
Yeah.
think living here would just be like, oi, we need to stay in a hotel for a night,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Yeah.
So yeah, so again, back to Ashland. So private, biggest thing. Another huge thing for us that we're proud of is we have 3 indoor ceremony locations and 3 outdoor ceremony locations. So we can really appeal to any aesthetic. I think that's something that I'm really proud of at Ashland is it's such a beautiful blend of estate vibes, you know, country refined vibes, mansion vibes, garden vibes. Like I feel like it's such a space that like doesn't really fit into one specific category. Like everybody wants to keep branding me as a barn venue and I'm just like, ugh.
Well,
delete.
you do have a big barn.
Yes, right behind us. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't, and when you're in it, it's not the like rustic
Yeah, it's not like country Yeah.
vibes. And I feel like the way that you can dress it up in a
Totally.
way, I mean, you could do whatever kind of
Totally.
vibe you're thinking in there, but you
Definitely.
also have all these like outdoor spaces that are so fun.
Yeah, completely agreed. We actually call it the lodge just because it kind of gives a little bit more like lodgy vibes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you know, to add to that, couples know there's a solid plan B. Like I know the wedding that you shot here last June, it was 8,100,000 degrees
Oh
that
my
day.
goodness.
And that couple actually chose to get married inside in the air conditioning.
Yeah.
And it's like, thank God, you know? So it's like, that is a feasible option. We do winter weddings. We're open year round because
Yeah.
we do have heat over there. So I think, you know, those are pretty big components of kind of what we do here. I would also add something that people really talk about and choose us for is my staff. I do have to say one of the biggest things that people love is you know, we provide the day of coordinator. We have a venue manager. We have a setup and tear down crew. Like here, the couple can be the couple. Like I always joke on my tours, I'm like, imagine the fact that you get to actually participate in everything you just planned and paid for. You know what I mean? It's such a crazy concept, but it's like even like the poor moms and the poor dads and like the siblings. Like your mom does not want to be lighting candles. She doesn't want to have to be like setting up a cake or like
But it's so
groomsmen
true.
moving chairs.
Yeah.
Like we're getting sweaty. Like no, it's like you come here. The setup and the teardown is taken care of for you. Actually, so behind the scenes, I just had a mom come and give me a check, and she was referred to me by another couple years ago. And God love her, she said the number one thing that this mother of the bride told this other mother of the bride about Ashland is she said, I will never forget after the wedding, they were literally packing our car up with our florals, our alcohol, our leftover cake. And like my husband and I literally could just get in our car and go. And that was something that we had never experienced before with like all of our past kids' weddings. So I can't always promise it's going to be packed in the manner you or your crazy dad
It'll
may
all
pack,
be there though.
but it'll be in there.
It'll all be there.
And you don't have to worry about it. So yeah, in a nutshell, that is really kind of what we do here. And as I mentioned, I started in 2018. So I just had my own wedding here. So it's been such a full circle moment and journey so far.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing that I was so excited for with the podcast is to be able to highlight local venues in the sort of like Lancaster, Pennsylvania area. That's where we're at.
Yeah. It's a huge market.
Yeah. But it's so fun to be able to sort of connect the dots. Like as a venue owner, I mean, you're in contact with so many vendors.
Totally.
And for a day to go smoothly, like
it starts with the venue.
You need everyone to kind of be on the same page and be here for the couple, just the same as you guys are as a venue.
Yeah. I would also add, and I just had this conversation last weekend, I would also add to that as a venue, we do also have a responsibility to provide what the vendors need to do their jobs, right?
I love that.
Like I was talking to a caterer and he was like, Leah, we did a wedding a couple weeks ago and like there was no running water. Like we literally had to like bring in our own running water. And, you know, these couples wonder why we charge more at certain venues. And, you know, it's not like when we come here, like we know when we come here, we have a point person, you know, they go to these other venues and they have to do the tables and chairs. They have to do the cleaning. And it's like all of that stuff. Yeah, you might find a venue that's cheaper than what I charge at Ashland, but like, we aren't just charging these prices because we can. Like, I think that's the biggest misconception. I mean, maybe some vendors are, but I mean, what it takes to run an event, like produce an event to this level of what we're doing here is goes hand in hand with not only making sure the front of the end looks beautiful in the grounds and, you know, the presentation of the staff and everything and the cleanliness, but also like, what does that back end look like, right? Like, do the vendors have a place that they can eat in private? You know, do they have do we have plenty of bathrooms that you guys can use? Do we have parking for you guys? Like, what does the catering prep space look like? So I think that's what kind of separates like those of us that have kind of taken this term of like a luxury wedding venue, like to the next level, because it's like, to me, in my opinion, that is what makes something luxury.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's, I was just talking about someone the other day, like people are like, oh, wedding venue looks so easy. And it's like,
Yeah, not
next.
quite. Also delete.
Literally, bye.
Yeah. No, I mean, it seems like you've thought through, and maybe this is just over years of experience, but it seems like you've thought through like so many different aspects to get it to the point where it does look beautiful here, but you're also taking care of all these little minute things that all add up to a seamless experience for the couples.
Yeah, it's a crazy concept, but like, I'm one of those people that, and I studied business at the undergraduate and the master's level, and it's one of the things that, like, when they talk about being like a high functioning leader and manager, it's like when you get to something that you have never dealt with. You know, there's two types of managers. There's the low functioning ones that think, well, you know, I already know everything, I can figure this out. Or it's the ones that take a step back and be like, you know what? I'm going to admit I don't know this, and I'm going to go ask someone who's been here before. So I think that's even from the get-go. Like, I'll shout out Ratu's Catering in Lancaster, if you know Jen. But when I first opened, my mom and dad own a construction building company. Rest in peace to my dad. But my mom still runs his building company. She's in real estate. So it's like, when we started all of this, like, I had such a leg up because I had like the construction side of it kind of handled. But as far as like amenity wise and the structure and flow, we had no idea, because like, we don't have a background in catering. I came from corporate life. So anyway, I literally Googled wedding caterers in Lancaster. I was still at my corporate job in 2017, and I cold called. I was used to cold calling. I cold called Jen Ratu, and I was like, can I take you out to dinner? I want to pick your brain. And she's been such a great resource for me, because she's the one that helped me design the catering kitchen. She's like, you need this. I don't think you need this. You know what I mean?
So
because the food and beverage is so important. Oh my gosh, it is the crutch of the day. So yeah, I think that's kind of what it was. Such a good, everyone was open to learning, and knowing that we didn't know this industry. You know, my dad was like, Leah, we're going to open this as a, you know, it's a business. We're going to make a beautiful space, and we're going to price it as such, and it will sell. And it's like, yes, definitely. But then the day of the first wedding comes, and you're like, okay, so I go there, I unlock the door, like, what do I do? You know what I mean? How does this work? How does the flow work? Is it my job to coordinate? Well, I'm trying to, you know, drive around grandparents on the golf cart. How am I coordinating? So it's like, all of that stuff is just, it's like a two separate. It's like, okay, we have the venue taken care of. We'll get buyers. But it's like, what do you actually do when you get the buyers, right?
The experience.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So take me back, if you could.
Yeah.
2017, you're kind of starting to paint the picture of you're at a corporate job.
Yeah.
How does this property come up?
It's wild.
Tell me about like the process to take it from what it was to what it is, because I know it did not look like this.
No, it did
in
not.
2018
well,
or
it's
2017.
crazy because people I meet now, like they're literally shocked. They're like, okay, so you renovated this, and then, you know, the lodge is new, right? And I'm like, nope. I'm like, everything is here from 1806, like even the trees. So long story short, I hail from a family of entrepreneurs. My brothers, I'm right in the middle. I have an older brother and I have a younger brother. My dad and mom are completely self-made. My mom didn't go to college. My dad actually dropped out his second day of ninth grade. So
I was thinking you were gonna say like dropped out of college, but like
my dad was one of 15.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So as soon as he was old enough to kind of get out and do his thing, he did. But like true definition of self-made in like every fashion. So him and my mom actually met super young, and my dad kind of like started out as a mason by trade, and then slowly they started to build this building company. And, you know, I remember as a kid, I was just talking about this. I remember as a kid, like, part of my chores were like helping my mom in her office. And like this was like way before like QuickBooks Online. Like we had the hard ledger and we opened it up and you
Yeah.
wrote down like check number 123 and like we did payroll. So it's like, because my mom always said, and it's so freaking crazy how life works out, but my mom always said, like, Lee, like, I need you to know how to do this because if something happens to me, like, my dad was a dope businessman, but like he didn't know how to run QuickBooks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That was my mom. That was what she was good at. So my dad was out in the field on the job, you know, doing his thing on the site. And then, you know, my mom did the office stuff. So she always said, I need you to know how to do this when that happens to me. So anyway, come from a family of entrepreneurs. My mom started going back like really heavily into real estate when I went into college.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a lawyer. Like that was kind of my goal. I actually interned at the Philadelphia District Attorney for my sophomore through senior year in, you know, the Northeast Major Crimes Unit. And like we prosecuted all kinds of stuff. And I was like, this is my passion. Like I'm going to be a defense attorney. Like this is what I'm going to do. Well, long story short, I moved back to Lancaster to study, to take the LSAT and go to law school. And in that interim, I had, you know, got my own place and got like a job, like a big girl job in what I studied. And I was, you know, watching my parents do their thing. And at the time, my younger brother was in college launching a business. My brother was doing the same thing. And I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I am not built for this 9-to-5 life. So, 2016, I decided, let me back up. 2014, I decided to pursue an MBA instead of law school.
Okay.
Because my parents were like, Leah, listen, we're not afraid to invest in your education. Education was super important to my parents, but my dad's like, do you actually want to do this? Like, do you actually want to be a lawyer and like pay your dues and like, you know, work with men all the time? Because like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, you don't really seem like a pay your dues kind of
Very
gal.
different.
Like, yeah, for sure. So I was like, you know what? Not really. Like, even to this day, I would love to get a legal education just to have the knowledge.
Yeah.
But so I decided to pursue the MBA, like strictly just for the creds, like just to have the MBA distinction. So anyway, my younger brother at the end of 2016 proposed to his now wife. And at that time, I wasn't married, like very low prospects. My older brother wasn't married. So it was the first wedding in our family.
Yeah.
Same on my sister-in-law, 2 brothers, not married. So it's like
Very new,
you know,
yeah.
no one knew what was going on. So they're looking at venues. They're talking to my mom and like, they're all just kind of like, we can't find one venue we like, da, 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 da. So my parents came to me and they're like, Leah, here's the deal. We are trying to retire. And like, we want a return on our investment of what we just paid to get you educated. So we will invite you to go into business with us. And this is what our plan is. And they said they had this idea, this wedding venue and da, 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 da. And I'm just like, okay, this is cool and stuff. But like, I worked in advertising. Like, I don't know anything about weddings.
Yeah.
I hate them. Like, I'm actually not, it's like, you know, those who can't do teach, like that's kind of how it is. So anyway, my mom's a realtor, dad's a builder, and we're from Lancaster. So where are you from?
Erie.
Oh God. Okay. All right. So I don't know if you know this, and all my Lancaster people can drop in the comments, but when you live in Lancaster, you don't cross the Susquehanna come to York. That is not a thing.
Yeah.
Like we're staying away from the river rats. We're not, no, I'm serious. I'm not coming over here.
Yeah.
So when my parents sent me the listing, they were, you know, my dad on his iPad, he was like, I think I found your venue. And he sent me the listing for this place. And I'm
You're
like,
like,
okay,
no way.
number one, it looks like Amityville Horror, like true story.
Yeah.
Second of all, Wrightsville, York, like, ew, you know what I mean? So I will never forget. My dad's like, Leah, just come on, just meet us up here. I think it could be what we want it to be, because my parents and my dad especially were so into historic preservation. And like, my dad was such an advocate of like remodeling and preserving the old, even though it's probably cheaper to tear down and build new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my house I live in now, we completely remodeled it. So we found this place, and it was the end of January 2017, and it was raining. It was horrible. It was disgusting. And my dad's like, I think this is it. And I was like, Dad, I don't see the vision like at all. Like my dad could see, like my mom too, because she designed this place. But like I'm a numbers person. I'm the business gal. Like I'm not a creative. That's not my thing. So we put an offer in of February 2017. We got permits. We broke ground in April of that year, and then we opened in May. I quit my job in 2017 at the end, and started here full time. But I mean, something that I want to note is it really is a testament to like my parents, because when we started this, like it wasn't in a capacity that like my parents were like, here, we're going to fork out all this money and just give this to you. Like, don't burn the place down. I think it's important for people to know that like I put the equity in, I put the time in, like I was here 18 hours a day. Like we cleaned after every wedding, because we could, my dad was like, Leah, we need to keep costs down. So it's just such an interesting, journey and metamorphosis of thinking back to my life, even like 6 years ago, and how I still lived in Lancaster, and I'm like, why am I not getting married? Why is everyone else getting married? So like, it's just interesting to see like the time and the work, like it did pay off. And it's like, I think it's a testament to like anybody, especially now, like we were talking a little bit before about the state of the industry right now. And it's like, in my opinion, staying steadfast and keep doing the work, even when it's hard, is why we continue to be successful. And why, because, there's lulls in the industry.
Oh yeah.
And we're in one right now. And it's like those of us that stay consistent with our pricing, stay consistent with our branding, like we'll get through this. Like we always do. But it's like, I think those people that stay in it, even when it's hard, because I'm here to tell you it's supposed to be hard. I tell people that to everyone. I just said it to someone the other day. They were like, one of our friends, she's going into college, and she's like, what's a piece of advice you'd give me? And I'd say, girlfriend, I just remind you, it is supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be easy. And if it is easy, like there's like red flags. But yeah, long story, very short. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's so cool to see the transformation, just like business growth.
Totally.
I mean, you guys, we were here at one of your first-ish,
I know.
right? And
yeah,
like,
that was October. I'm sick that I know that.
Yeah.
Sick and disgusting that I know that.
It's just so fun to see like how much you've learned and grown from all of that time. Mm-hmm. But the origin story of like the family kind of vibe, it's evident in everything that you guys do. But it's so cool to see like that barn back there.
I know.
Did not look like the barn it looks like now.
Yeah, it was like it was the four walls.
Yeah.
Seriously. There was no electric, no plumbing, nothing.
So was there something that
why a wedding venue? Is that what you're gonna
sort of? It's also funny, like when you're talking to me about your family, and it's like business owner, self-made business owner. It's so like typical to be like, oh, one of us is getting married, so let's just buy a wedding. We
can do it better. We can do it. Well, no, it's a lot. Obviously, it's just a lot more than that. Business, I know. Well, it's funny because my younger brother does not work here. Like he runs my dad's company. So, it was hard for me at first because weddings was something that I never it never crossed like the stratosphere of my mind of like a rational thought. Like I got into this because I love the aspect of business. I love the fact that I have control over what the outcome is. And I think that is what has made Ashland successful and will continue to be successful, is because it's that sweat equity I've put in. It's the fact that like Leah and Ashland are synonymous. And like I always tell people, like, sure, these wedding factories, like they're way bigger of a scale than we are. They have they have hotels, like they have way more amenities than we do. But at the same time, like you are not many people can message a wedding venue on Instagram and like talk to the owner. And I think that's what I love so much about this is we operate so buttoned up and professional as if we're doing, 500 weddings a year. We have the processes so down, but it's like the organization is so flat. And I think that's what a lot of my couple's parents enjoy.
Yeah.
Like you saw, I just talked to one of my bride's moms. Like I think a lot of people know that, well, Leah, like nothing goes on at Ashland that Leah doesn't know about. So it's like I co-sign everything.
Well, it's so true because I messaged you about
setting up
this film. And you're like, it's Leah. And I was like, oh, awesome.
I know.
It's so great.
Well, and I think it goes to show like, so a huge thing that we've been, dealing with recently is like how we approach rehearsals now. We no longer as a business offer formal rehearsals the night or 2 nights before as a business decision. And I always tell people, listen, you have to understand this place is my baby. Like my parents, like I don't sit on like a trust fund.
Yeah.
Like if I don't do my job here, I can't pay my bills, right? So
Or your team too.
correct. I can't make payroll 100%, which is the most important. So I am 100, if not 200, even with including my husband, 200% invested in making sure your wedding is successful. And I think that is the huge, huge differentiator, because I always tell my couples, if you have something to complain about, like you're coming to me, and like I have enough problems, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not just some like 9 to 5er that's just like, yeah, we can do that. And then the day of the wedding comes and someone's working your wedding that you've never seen or heard from before. Like I did. On Sunday, I had 5 tours, and every single tour said, wait, are you going to be here on our wedding day?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hard because it's like, I need a day off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I've found such a good synergy in all of my staff in delegating to them, but also still being present for my couples. Like Zach and I come to my husband and I come to every single wedding. We make, that's what I think is what's important. Like I treat people the way I hoped people would treat me on my wedding day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's I think those are the little things that a lot of us in this small business kind of like boutique venue space kind of have a leg up on a lot of these wedding factories.
Yeah. Well, and the personal aspect of what you're doing, you do a lot of weddings, right? You have a lot of couples that come through and get married here, but you still are putting in the time and effort to make it personal and to make it unique and to be here even.
Totally. Well, I'll tell you a story, and hopefully no one uses this against me in the future, but we had a couple back. It was a winter wedding, and it was Jackie and her husband, and they had a pit bull, and she's passed now, and I had a pit bull as well. So ever since I met them, I was like, these are my people, because, pit bull. Well, anyway, long story short, they, I do allow dogs here. I am dog friendly, but of course they have to leave afterwards. They can't like chill in the reception space.
Right.
So unfortunately, they hired I will never forget, they hired a professional dog sitter to come and deal with the dog, and something fell through or whatever. So I was like, I'll take her.
Yeah.
I live 5 minutes away. And they were like, Leah, you don't have to. I said, no, seriously, I love her.
Yeah.
Like she'll get along with Ginger. It'll be great. So I took them over to my, parents' house, and we literally babysat their dog. And
so
it's like,
fun.
Again, that is not a green light. I am not a babysitting service for dogs.
You
but
heard it here first.
Think,
She'll watch your
totally.
dog.
No, only if it's a golden doodle. But I think those are the things, but it's so hard to keep the boundary and keep it cute and keep it professional, because people can and they will see that as weakness. And I always say to people, I'm cool. I love to kiki. I love to hang out and stuff, but it's like, don't mistake my kindness for weakness, because that is something that I am not.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I try to be flexible, and I always me and my staff always joke, like, unless it's like criminal or illegal or like a threat of either, we're good with it.
We're good, yeah.
But I think those are the things that people remember. Like I still have couples that are like, my grandmother still will not talking about how you drove her around on the golf cart and you gave her a VIP tour of the venue on the golf cart. And, so it's like things like that. Yeah. That is what matters.
So you recently got married.
Yes.
Which, congratulations.
Thanks.
That's
Thank
so
you.
fun.
Almost, what's today? 18th? Almost 2 months ago.
Crazy.
Almost.
I feel like you had experience obviously before getting married, like because you've been running your business since 2018. But I'm curious to know how your perspective has changed since planning your own wedding.
Yeah. Well, first I'm going to preface what I'm going to say with, I did not get married till I was 33. Did I meet my husband till I was 30. So for all my single girls out there that think that they have to get married by 30, you do not have to.
Yeah, just 33. No.
I'll be 34 next month. So it's like,
You got something.
But anyway, so I think the biggest thing, and I think about this a lot, I think the biggest thing that's changed for me in going through it is do not sweat the small stuff. Like, I know that sounds like so cliche, but things like, for example, I did not like when I walked down the aisle, I missed my cue at the music of the moment I wanted to walk down the aisle. You know, like people get so fixated and like, how long is my aisle walk? I need to time my song. No, you do not.
Yeah.
I promise you, your entire world is going to shift the second you go there and you see your partner at the aisle. Like, because again, for me, I came down the aisle and I was not at the moment that I wanted to come down the aisle. And it's like, it never even dawned on me until like a week later. And
I totally missed that cue.
Exactly. Nobody noticed. Nobody cared.
Yep.
And it's like, it was still the most amazing, beautiful thing because I married my person, you know? And I think that's the advice I give is everything seems so important. And for example, I will never forget. And anyone that knows my husband knows that he's the complete opposite of me. So 3 or 4 days before the wedding, I went up to my husband and I said, Zach, oh my God, babe, we have not practiced the first dance. We have not practiced our aisle kiss. We have not practiced our shirt. Like, I'm saying all this stuff, right? And he looks at me and he was like, Leah, it's okay. Like, it's not okay that everything is like so freaking planned down to the second. He's like, let's just let it be spontaneous. Like, let's just go with it. And that's what we did. We literally did not practice one thing. And it was so wonderful and so amazing. So it's like, that's the advice I would give for couples is like, I know when you're in the nitty gritty of planning, you're like, if they are not, you know, if the champagne is not cold and bubbly, when we get to our tables, the whole night's ruined. I swear to God, it's not. You're not even going to notice.
Yeah.
You know, but that's not to say the little details aren't important because they are. But it's just, I think the things that couples are so like wound so tight about, like, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
As like, I always used to joke, as long as Zach shows up and says I do, like, I literally don't care if aliens attack. But I think that's what has changed my perspective. Now, on my business side, my vendor side, my job, the details still matter 100%, and I'm always going to be that way. But when it comes to my couples,
the actual wedding experience.
Correct. The wedding experience. I will say, though, I did get a little taste or idea of like how my couples feel. And that was something that like I think a lot of people will never get to experience. Like, because I always wonder, like, I would love to come to a wedding in Ashland. Like, I would love to be a bride at Ashland because I feel like, honestly, like, it's so cool and it's so nice here. So to actually get to like compartmentalize that and truly like be the bride, which I was, like, I think I got a little snippet of like how my couples feel. And it's like, I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, definitely changed my perspective on, because like there are some things, and I was telling my husband this, there's some things at my wedding that weren't quite executed the way I thought they should be. And like, it was literally fine. Like, I didn't complain about it. We had an amazing day and I still haven't complained about it. Like it's all good.
Yeah.
Like,
I have to imagine it'd be so fun to be standing up
I know
at the altar, looking at Zach, looking at all your people and be like, I don't know, like, did you think back to like the moment your dad was like, this is the spot? No, like, I really think this is the spot. And now you're like here.
It's even like, so you're gonna make me cry. It's even so much more emotional full circle for me because my dad passed in 23.
Yeah.
And sorry.
No, it's okay.
And it's such like a full circle moment, like truly, because we got married out here in front of the mansion solely because we planted a memorial tree for my dad and some of his ashes are out there. Yeah. So it's just like, I also think that whole situation, like even with my photographer I hired, like when I told her about the story, she was like, I have to be a part of this. Like, this is unbelievable. So, you know, my dad knew my husband and like, of course, like knew we would eventually get married. And like when my dad got sick, like we actually said, like, do you want us to get married while you're still here? And he was like, no, I want you to do it on your time. Like, I'll be there regardless. So it was really cool the days leading up to the wedding and even on the wedding to like, and you know, I believe in this stuff. Like, I knew my dad was here. Like, I just knew it. Like, you could feel it, and like just certain signs, you know, regardless of, you know, your personal beliefs, it's just here. My dad is here. Yeah. Like, there's no doubt about it. So, that is what made it even more emotional and more awesome because my family and I, we had a very small wedding. We had about 60 people. And compared to, other people's
Yeah.
huge weddings. I know 60 people does not sound small, but
It's pretty small.
I think a lot of people expect me to have the 150, but no, we had a very small wedding. So it's like, it was such an emotional day for everybody because it really truly felt like a totally new book. Because, we started the journey of Ashland. We opened that chapter. My dad got sick. My dad passed away. We grieved that. And it's like, we all almost felt that we could celebrate again
Yeah.
and not feel that we're doing him a disservice, because some time had passed. It'll be 2 years in October. So it's it was even more emotional for me that day. And to anyone who has lost a parent, it's like something people say to me like, how was your day? And I said my day was perfect except one thing was missing, but there's nothing anybody could do about it,
Yeah.
So I think that combining with my dad being such a crutch, he was my go-to, and then when he passed, I said to my mom, who's now my partner, I said, I have to hire a groundskeeper. Like, I have to hire a setup and tear down person. I need someone who's going to get rid of bees nests. Like, I need you need a dad.
Yeah.
And my husband was working for the government at the time, but he said he would come work at Ashland. And I said, my mom was like, you do not have to do that. Like, that's not, we don't expect, because you're coming as family, like, we don't expect you to do that. But he did, and he learned from my dad. And I think, I know he feels proud.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What's it like having him be like a part of the team now and like working alongside your spouse? Like,
yeah. Well, it's funny because we don't really like work alongside each other. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of how my parents were. Like,
Yeah.
my mom was the realtor, the salesperson, like with the client. Like, it was so funny because my dad would come here, and I swear, like, it's crazy because when my dad passed away, I got cards and flowers from couples from like my very first year in business. It was unbelievable. So everyone knew who my dad was, but it's funny because like, if you ask my dad, he would be like, oh, I'm the maintenance guy. And then like the next time, oh, I just take care of the trash. Or like the next time, I'm just here pulling weeds. Like, he was never the owner ever. And like, my dad was like humble, top quality.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because even when my dad was here, like, the only time my dad and I ever like worked together was when we were like, talking about stuff in the office. Like, even with Zach now, like, it was funny because my dad goes, I will literally do any job except talk to the clients. I do not want to talk to the customers. That's what your job is for. And it's funny because, when Zach came in, he was like, Leah, I'll go in the septic. I'll plunge a toilet. I do not care. He's like, I just do not want to talk to the customers.
And you're like, great. I love that part.
I know. But it's funny because it's part of the story now. So like, Zach's used to now, like, the smiling and, greeting everybody and stuff. And he handles, like, the moms and grandmas like love him. But it's interesting because we don't, like I said, we don't really work side by side.
Yeah.
Because like, if there's, wedding days come, primarily it's him, my coordinator, and my venue manager who are here. Like, I'll pop in to make sure no one is like doing something they shouldn't be doing, but like, those three are the ones like
running the show.
Yeah. Correct. So, it's definitely tough because you want to make sure you're not, but he's also so amazing at it. Like, it takes a very type of man to be married to a female entrepreneur. Like, it really does, because there's things that Zach forgets and there's things that aren't up to par, just like my other employees. And it's like learning how to, have those conversations with him to see the bigger picture, in that it's not just me telling you what to do and on this like power trip. Like, it's me as the owner of this company. But that's also what makes him so great at his job, is because he knows the legacy, he knows the responsibility.
Right.
Same with all my other staff. So it's like, there hasn't, like I said, he does his thing, I do my thing. And
I do feel like the wedding space, like wedding vendors, they're not maybe more than other businesses, but there's a lot of like couples that will go into business together. And it seems like what you're saying is like open line of communication, allowing it to be business time, having like, even what you were saying before,
totally
having like we work here and we don't work here.
Well, it's separate of like church and state, right? And it's kind of like in any high functioning business, sales and production are separate.
Yeah.
And that's how I do things here. And I think that's what makes it successful. Like, I'm the salesperson, I'm the face of the business. I don't coordinate weddings. That's a completely separate job. And I think
nor do you want to.
Correct. Most important.
Yeah.
But any single venue owner or manager that tells me that they're also their venues coordinator is just a recipe for disaster. It is two separate jobs.
Yeah.
Venue coordinator and day of coordinator are very separate jobs. And I know you as a vendor know this.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what it is. It's a separation from the sales and the production. If it just keeps the circle going round and round, I can't get the sales if production doesn't pull it off. Production can't pull it off unless I get the sales, So you also want to think about I think there's a lot of couples and families that work together in this space because it's small business, right? Like I had my state rep down here the other day and we were talking and he was just talking about the economic impact of Ashland on this small community. And I said, well, I mean, if I think about it, for example, this weekend, both of my couples do not live in this area.
Yeah.
So they're putting economic impact to all the hotels.
Yeah.
And then, we have 10 to 12 vendors here per wedding and they are all small business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
That's a cool way to think about it too,
all my caterers, every single caterer I work with is a small family-owned business. Yourself, photographers, the florists, huge. They're sourcing all their florals from local farms. You know what I mean? So it's cool to kind of be at the top of that food chain and kind of see how that trickles down. But I would think that's probably a reason why too, because in this business, we get one shot.
Yeah.
And you got to have people you trust on your team, right?
Well, yeah.
You got to show up.
Yeah. And
I think that's what makes hiring very hard as well.
Yeah. All the things. Because it's
that could be a podcast in itself.
I mean, yeah, that's, I've heard people that do hiring well and those that don't, or just finding the right people can be so hard because you as the venue owner,
I know.
I mean, you have all of this history and equity and all this stuff, and then it's you're pulling on someone who's
you've never met before.
Yeah. But going more on the couple side of things, what's some maybe advice for couples that they, when they're thinking about hosting, sometimes a big party, sometimes a small party.
Yeah.
What are some things that you'd recommend that they watch out for?
Yeah.
That they kind of keep their eyes open for when they're in that planning process?
Yeah. The biggest thing I've been thinking about lately is the first piece of advice I would give to anybody, whether you're planning an intimate wedding or, a large wedding, would be, and I know it sounds so ridiculous, but you would be shocked at how many people don't do this. You need to be having conversations with your partner and or families before you actively start planning and recruiting vendors. You have to keep in mind, all of us, we don't you don't sit in your video studio all day and just wait for calls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So same with me with the tours, you have to sit down and have those hard conversations, because if you can't do that, that's not a good foreshadowing for a marriage. You have to sit down and have these hard conversations and say, look, what do we want to spend on our wedding? What works for us? Are your parents helping? Are my parents helping? You need to have a good overall view of what you expect you're going to do and what you're willing to pay for those things, because I promise you, what you think you're going to pay for what you think you want is very, very, very different. And I'm seeing, because, I'm a venue, I get people on the first stop.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're not even talking to their partner. They're not saying babe, when do you want to do this? How much do we want to spend? Let's ask ChatGPT. I know the averages is super, super lowballed, but I mean, because I on that same note, instead of thinking of, okay, we want to have a 150 person wedding, we want the full Monty. You know what I mean? And it's what I think the average now is I would say the average is 40, 45K for what these people think they want to have. Instead of thinking that way, I challenge everybody, and this is not easy, I challenge everybody to flip the situation and think a little bit more critically, right?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to fit a square peg into a square peg into a round hole, think, okay, listen, we are trying to save for a house. We do not want to spend 40 grand on a wedding. 20 sounds comfortable for us. What kind of wedding could we have for 20,000? And that's probably going to mean a micro wedding, so people, there's some people out there that have an unlimited budget, can spend whatever they want. But for most of us, we're not spending $100,000 in Lancaster on a wedding.
Yeah.
So I challenge couples, instead of saying we want this, what does that look like realistically? Because I was listening to something yesterday, and I think I shared it actually. And she was talking about how people seem to still be shocked at how expensive weddings are. And it's like, Zach and I have no kids, and we spend hundreds of dollars at the grocery store every single week.
Yeah.
Why would you think a luxury party would be cheap?
Yeah.
So I think that's my first and second advice. You need to now have those. If you are thinking about marrying this person and legally binding yourself to them, and I'm sure you're seeing I'm a straight shooter. You got to have these conversations. You have to sit down and say, babe, I'm envisioning this. Where are you at on this? Like, do you care? Do you want a destination? Is it realistic? Like, who are we having? Like, if you're not comfortable telling your mother-in-law that her second cousin's dog sitter is not invited, like, I don't think you should be getting married. You know what I'm saying? No, correct. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I encourage, have those conversations first.
Yeah.
Because sure, wedding vendors charge a lot, in quotes, but we're not, like, the whole inquiry process and consultation process, like, we don't get phantom money. That's all in our pricing. You know what I mean? So I encourage, start to have those conversations and then figure out what's realistic for us.
Yeah.
We only, because I know a lot of people that have a lot of money and come from a lot of money, but do not spend a lot of money on their wedding because they don't want to.
Yeah.
They'd rather go to Hawaii for a month or, buy a house or whatever that looks like. So, and then third piece of advice, and I tell everyone this, look at your guest list and, take family by family or couple by couple and say, if our electric goes out, would they let us stay over tonight? If they wouldn't, they shouldn't be at your wedding. Because and I know you know this because you're a photographer, weddings are intimate.
Yeah.
They are vulnerable. Like, I think about my husband, like, he's not a public speaker. I clearly am. He is not a public speaker. And God love him. Like, for him to stand up there in front of 60 people and be so open and vulnerable, like, that's what this is about. And I think a lot of people forget that. Yeah. So, long-winded answer, but, talk to your partner, set realistic expectations, really focus on a guest count.
Well, and the guest count too could really affect the overall budget.
Well, I'm so happy you brought that up, because another piece of advice I tell people, I just said this the other day, your parents. You take your parents out to dinner and you pay. Are you pissed if they get $100 steak? That's what you want to ask yourself. Yeah. Times 70 or however many people you get. Because that's what it is, right? I always say to people, think about how expensive it is to eat out.
And now pay for everyone.
It's not going to be cheaper at a wedding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when it's cheap with weddings, it's probably not going to be what you think it is, you know? So, really think about it. Are these vendors, caterers, venues, videographers, photographers, etc., are they really going to allow us to have the day that we envision? Because if you're hiring a caterer that is $20 a person, you're probably cleaning up at the end of the night. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's things like that. It's, if we hire a photographer that's maybe a little bit more expensive, but she delivers 1,500 photos, we got them back in less than a month. Yeah. Like, the experience.
Yeah.
And you're not spending your entire day saying, well, take us over there for photos. What do you think about over there for photos?
Yeah, she's just doing all of it.
Correct. It's a dance. And do they know the dance with you?
Even just in these first handful of episodes that I've been filming for the podcast, I've heard so much about the experience.
That's what you're paying for.
Yeah. And you have experience being a venue owner with tons and tons and tons of vendors. I mean, how many weddings are you doing roughly in a year?
We do like 70.
70. So 70 times like
500.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of vendors.
And again, I this just thought of me. This happened last fall. Most of our couples, we have a recommendation list for vendors. Most of our couples hire from them, but
Okay.
it's another thing to think about. 80% of my couples travel more than 2 hours to get married here. Like, hire people in this market because they're not going to have traveling fees.
Yeah.
Like, we had a vendor, or excuse me, we had a client hire a DJ, never heard of. He literally said to my coordinator, "What are their names again?"
Oh my
and it's
gosh.
like, what? Like, are you kidding me?
What?
And it's even
That's,
all,
yeah.
but even it's all about appearance too.
Yeah.
Like, with photography, like what are they wearing? Like, I know we're working and we're busy, but there is appropriate professional wear
Yeah.
that as a vendor you can, because I always tell my clients a big thing now is florals and like how expensive florals are. And I said to my couples, I said, I got married in June. It was hot.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, my florals still looked perfect. And I said, because that's what I paid for. My florist processed every single limb and hydrated every single limb and was spraying and designing and customizing and setting up. Like, sure, you're paying for the flowers.
Yeah.
Yes. But you're paying for someone to go out to that pergola and design on this 12-foot deep pergola custom quality work that
Yeah.
no one else is ever going to have.
Well,
and that's expensive.
To your point, though, if that's not something that you're excited about,
Totally.
then don't spend your money there.
Couldn't agree more. Totally.
Don't
And
spend your money there.
that's actually a great point, because that is something I think what people like about Ashland is they can silo their money to what they find important. Like,
Yeah.
I always say to couples, your photo, your video, your venue, and your gown and your suit, hair, and makeup are, in my opinion,
Yeah.
they are in every single picture.
Yep.
And I seriously show my couples, I have a bunch of albums that I typically have out here for tours that my certain photographers have made for me to show. And I literally show my couples, look at these. I said, how many guests do you think they had there? And they go, I have no idea. I said, exactly.
It
Because I
doesn't matter.
promise you,
Yeah.
when you get your gallery back and your video back, all you care about is the first look, the ceremony,
Yeah.
the portraits, pictures with, your grandparents.
Yeah.
You don't really care about like disgusting drunk people on dance floor. You
Yeah.
know, you might, but
They're fun.
they're
But they're not
fun.
the
They're
bread and
fun.
butter.
But your profile picture, your Instagram feed, that's your ceremony.
Yeah.
That's your dip kiss at the end of your aisle. You know what I mean? So like, that's why I say like, your venue is in every single picture.
Yeah.
Your photo, your video, like that is what you walk away with. So it's like, again, to your point, if you don't prioritize florals, which is 100% okay,
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
don't.
Because we didn't at
Correct.
our wedding.
Totally.
We bought a bunch of like flowers that were just in buckets, basically.
That's my worst nightmare. Me personally, as
It
a person,
was.
as a person,
It
not
was
a vendor.
we thought it was going to work, and then
So what happened?
So we found out that one of my wife's parents' closest friends,
Neighbors,
has always wanted
okay.
to be a florist.
Oh, nice.
And she just took it and ran with
Right
it,
on.
and it was perfect.
Not everyone's that lucky though.
If we didn't have her, though, we would have put our buckets out, and then,
I know. I'm
But
like,
that's not what we wanted to spend our money on.
totally. Well, and it's the same thing. It's not like me. We wanted filet and crab cake.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, my mom was not paying a $25,000 catering bill. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it just because, and I think that's what is a testament to what is the experience going to be like. Are you, because I promise you at the end of the night, you don't want to be sweeping. You don't want to be touching people's dirty cups and throwing them away. Like, you want to do your send off, get on your shuttle and go to your after party. And again, I say, I was actually talking on a podcast the other day about like AI.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm interesting to see how AI plays a role in the industry, because for us, everything we do is with these.
Yeah.
Unless I can get a robot to pull weeds, like that's why it's so expensive, right?
Yeah.
Because everything we do is people, and
Yeah, it's
people
like
are
high
expensive.
touch,
100%.
high experience. Yeah.
100%. And it's like, I always say, I hope no one uses this against me, but like when you get married here, like for the most part, you get like pretty much accessibility to me and my staff. Like, we have boundaries and stuff, but at the same time, like that's what you're paying for.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like with my parents, like when you build a house.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
the D-Day, the wedding day, the most important day, like we get one shot at this. And I tell my couples all the time, we have a 3-wedding weekend. We're here on Friday. I don't care about Saturday. I don't care about Sunday. I care about right now. I'll worry about Saturday when we get there.
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh, what vendor? My husband's like, oh, who's the caterer this week? I said, ugh, I have no idea. I've only worked at Friday at this point. No, I do know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I have the files down, but
yeah.
It's such a multifaceted, highly dynamic world.
Now, couples are inundated with hundreds of different vendors for each category. Like I was just talking a minute ago with a photographer. There's
Oh my gosh, yeah.
how many photographers?
8 million.
Yeah, and there's
in my opinion, I don't know about yours, but I think it's the most saturated part of the market.
Yeah, for sure.
Venues are getting there, but there's huge differentiators with venues. But with photographers, it's kind of like
they all kind of take nice photos.
Totally,
for the most part,
and AI does that.
It does. Yes. It does. You guys have it nice.
Yeah.
No, but
why do you charge so much? I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
No, it's a hot take, but no. How do you? What would you say to couples that they're sitting there like, how do we pick
I love this
the
question.
right vendor? I mean, it could be photographer. It could even be venue.
Totally.
It could be videographer. It could be caterer. Like, how do we pick the right vendor?
I love this question. Somebody asked me, and it's kind of answers your question. Somebody asked me what was one of my proudest moments in my career. And I think back to, I got an inquiry from a gal that I knew. We're not friends by any means. We just knew of each other. And she had followed Ashland along and was watching from afar what I was doing. And she obviously, it probably never dawns on people that I'm the inquiry girl, I'm the Insta girl, like, right. That stuff. So anyway, she inquired and she wrote, we want to get married at Historic Ashland because Leah's the type of person that we want with us on our wedding day. Leah's the type of person that we want running things. And I could cry talking about it because that's my advice. Who do you connect with? Taking price out of it, taking, all of that out of the equation. Let's say that all works. Price is good. We love the photos.
Yeah.
Is this person someone that you want next to you, recording and witnessing the most and responsible for the most important part of your day? Because I tell everybody, photographer, videographer, they spend, if you don't you spend the most time with them.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing here. People might come here and meet me and think, literally hate that girl, would never want to get married there. Cool.
Yeah, go
whatever.
Somewhere else.
You got to know what you don't like. You know what I mean? But I think that is the piece of advice. Everything else remain constant. Are these people the ones that you trust to put your day above their day?
Yeah.
Right? Because even here, I just told you about my dad. All my staff have gone through very heavy personal things over the years. It's all gone away. It's all leaves when we open those gates and we start.
Yeah.
And that would be my biggest piece of advice. You're looking at, let's say you have 5 venues that you like, and you're like, how do we narrow this down? Think about your 5 venue tours.
Yep.
How did they treat you before you said yes to them?
Yeah.
Because that is the most important thing in business, any business. How are you treated before they have your money?
Because if that might even be like the deeper version 100%. Of what you're saying.
Here we have, custom name boards. We welcome everyone. We have the snacks. Like I tell everybody, I'm giving you a whole folder with everything I'm saying because I do not want you to write stuff down. I want you to pay attention. How do you feel here? Like the one day, the one mom on Sunday, she literally goes, I don't know why, but I'm getting emotional. Like that's what I want people to think about. Like, and I think I want you, let's go with this. You had 3 venues that you and your fiance toured.
Mm-hmm.
Did they treat you like a human being? Like, I know that sounds so crazy, but like I hear the craziest stories from my couples about venue tours, but it's like, were they prepared? Were they dressed professionally? Were they ready for you? Did they know your names? Did they?
Who's this
literally,
couple again?
Who are you? No, people have told me that. Like, so think about how any vendor in any capacity of your wedding treats you before they have your money. How is their communication?
Yeah, that's so huge. Because once they have your money, maybe then
it's not going to get better, I promise.
But maybe then they're like, oh, like blah blah blah, I'm responsive and all this stuff. But it's like
totally,
if they don't have your money and they're doing,
it's a sales pitch then at that point. You know what I mean? It's a sales
everything
pitch.
They can to take care of you, make sure you have all the information.
Correct.
like you're saying, going above and beyond,
Yep.
putting the name
Yep.
sign out.
I really try to, when people come here for a tour, I really try to get them to buy in. And then when they come here and meet me and see the process and see the spaces, it makes it real for them. And it's
Yeah.
a quick, I don't want to say quick close because it's not, but it's an easier close. It's, Ashland was our first tour and we still can't stop thinking about you and the venue and Amanda and how you guys run everything. So,
Yeah.
that is, I mean, obviously, once you get down to the point where, you're narrowing down based on style, budget, those, I always say pick three. Some people say we want air conditioning, we want it private, and we want separate getting ready suites. Great. I hit those three S's. So now you come here and you have three venues that hit those marks.
Yeah.
Again, how were you treated?
Yeah.
How was your sister treated who's 10 and bored out of her mind on your venue tour? Was she given snacks and an iPad or was she ignored the whole time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like those are how I think you differentiate.
Even right from the jump,
100%.
It's like experience.
You go to a venue tour, am I here waiting for you to greet you? Or are you standing down in the foyer for 20 minutes like, where the hell is this lady? And no one's answering the phone. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
it seems
it's
like
a courting process for me, just it is for the couple.
You would think that business owners would have that mindset.
Well, no.
But it's a weird kind of in between.
Well, the business owners aren't the ones doing the tours. That's the difference.
No, I just mean like in general.
Oh, yeah.
You would think that most
Agreed.
business owners, as a wedding vendor, you would be at that meeting early.
I
You
know.
would be in the Zoom call waiting for them to show up,
Totally.
admit them right away. But there's still some out there that don't have the right mindset with it. And it seems like from what you're saying, that initial experience, they don't have your money yet.
So important.
What are you seeing?
The number one thing people tell me, literally, and I'm shocked when I see this, thank you so much for your quick response. Well, I mean, here's my thing. I even noticed it when I was shopping for my vendors.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now here's my thing. When vendors saw my name, they knew who I was, but some
They were like,
vendors,
oh yes, we're available.
we're canceling everything. We're available. No, I'm just kidding. I was so lucky because all my vendors were dope as hell. But like even vendors I reached out to that like I didn't know, like of course they follow Ashland and stuff, but they never met me. I was shocked, like totally shocked at the way they treated me, and I'm over here like for example,
at that point you're just a normal.
Correct.
Like
A normal buyer.
You're not saying like, hey, I'm the owner of Historic Ashland. Like,
you know what the biggest thing for me was that like pissed me off? It happened so many times. I inquire. I'm a firm believer in business as for my couples. The manner of which you inquire with me is where I'm meeting you, right?
Gotcha.
So you hit my DMs as an inquiry.
You're getting back.
I'm getting back in the DMs. I'm not saying, can you go to my website and fill out an inquiry? No, as a vendor, why are people doing this? Why are vendors going, can you go to my website and inquire? Why? You have them hot right now.
Yeah.
What is I'll do business in the DMs. I'll do business at Sheets. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I'm serious. Like it just happened to me. I reached out to somebody about preservation for my wedding gown and I DM'd them because couldn't find the phone number on the website, couldn't find this information, couldn't find an email. And she responds and goes, hey, if you could call me or shoot me a text. But no, I'm over here like.
Right here, right now.
Take my money.
Yeah.
And they're over here like, hey, lovely to meet you. But like, could you go to my website and fill out an inquiry form?
To play.
Or can you go on the Knot and fill. Why are you sending people to the Knot? Your competitors are there. Dude, you're getting me heated. Why are you sending, if you have a link to your Knot profile, every vendor, any marketplace, Zola, wedding, anything.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example. In Lancaster on Manheim Pike, there's 80 million car dealerships there. Why? Because that's where the traffic goes, right? It's pay to play. Okay. Yeah. Same thing here. If you do not have a website and you are any vendor and you are sending people to your Knot profile, Wedding Wire profile, Zola, whatever it is, no.
Yeah.
Please call me and we would have a conversation. Like, for the love of God, no. Make a free website on Wix, one pager.
Yeah.
By the way, just like real fast, because I like to be Switzerland. Typically, I do not like or dislike the Knot, Wedding Wire, or Zola. I think every vendor has their own journey and has to do what's best for them.
Yeah.
But I would love to talk about anybody about that privately.
Yeah. Well, it is true that Some people have great experiences.
Yeah.
Some people don't.
Totally.
I haven't.
Totally.
Which is probably swaying my.
No. I think it's fair.
Yeah.
I think that even since I cannot even tell you how much the industry, how business is done, how buyers find you has changed so much just in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like when I started back in 2018, that was what you did.
Yep. And if you
That was
weren't
what
on
you did.
there, you
Correct.
were
You were not
missing out.
SHIT if you were
Yeah.
not on there. You know what I'm saying? But now the way people conduct business, the way people spend money, the way they learn about your business is so different.
Yeah. Well, Leah, this has been such a pleasure, such a joy. You are a wealth of knowledge.
Oh,
There's
thank you.
probably topics on topics that we didn't even
know.
get to dive into. And I really, really appreciate you having us here at your venue. It's such a beautiful space, and you
Anytime.
guys are doing great work here.
Oh, thanks.
So where can people find and follow your work?
Yeah, so obviously any socials, anywhere you obtain information or get media at Historic Ashland. The website is actually historicashlandevents.com. If you are a prospective couple, you think you're getting engaged and you want to chat, like I said, you can hit me up in the DMs, inquire through the website. I'm pretty big on TikTok as well. But yeah, we're located right in Wrightsville, PA. So pretty easy for us to find right off Route 30.
Yeah, and all of that information will be linked in the description below.
Beautiful.
So they can go click those links and
Beautiful.
reach
Perfect.
right out to you. So
Excellent.
Any upcoming projects or things that are exciting?
Oh my gosh. So it's crazy you asked that because my mom and I were just talking about our plans to add something to the venue.
Heyo.
Yeah. So that is really exciting. Personally for me, I got a job as an adjunct professor at York College.
So fun.
I'm going to be teaching marketing, which it's kind of always been a goal of mine. So I start that next week. So that's exciting. Obviously going into the fall, which is our busy season. So, that's kind of.
Do we get to know what's being added, or is it still?
Well, it's very early stages because
Okay.
for me, I have to make sure it makes sense for most importantly my wedding couples, but I also want to make sure it makes sense for the business as a whole.
Yeah.
So yeah, stay tuned. It's exciting.
I'm
We were
try-
just talking about this last night.
I know, so fun. I'm trying to squeeze it out of her, but she's not letting it go, guys.
Well, I don't even know how to,
okay.
guys. I don't even know how to phrase it. I'm not opening another venue. If that's
Okay.
what you think I'm going to
All
say,
right.
that's not it. So something in my early years, really quick, before my dad got sick and passed away, was every year we added something new. So like in 2019, we expanded the patio, added the garden pergola. 2021, we created the fire pit space. 2022, we did, added the pathways and all this stuff. Then my dad got sick, who did all my projects.
Yeah.
So now that, we're kind of back into attempting to find some level of normalcy, my mom and I just last night were like, I think it's time for a new project.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Well, stay
yeah.
tuned
Yeah.
to see what's going on. I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
you'll post about it on
Yeah.
all the social media.
Yep.
Leah, thank you so much. This is all for this episode. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I hope you've been enjoying and getting so much value from this podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and like the episodes and tune in for the next episode of The Preferred List. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks. Bye.